Listen closely, chosen one. Feel that soft electric tension pulsing in the air right now, like something enormous is on the verge of roaring into existence. That quiet, subtle hum. The one no one thought mattered, is the unstoppable current that's about to deconstruct every illusion they ever tried to lock you into. They laughed at you once, ridiculed your silence, mocked your big dreams, turned your truth into a punchline. And now, that old silence they dared to laugh at is morphing into a thunderous force that shakes every fiber of their being. Once, you were dismissed as just background noise, a faint static they could tune out. Now, they finally realize you are the very frequency that pierces their illusions and fractures their entire reality. They used to look at you with half smirks and barely concealed pity. Maybe some of them were even the types to pat you on the head or roll their eyes the moment you walked out of the room. You were naive, unrealistic, maybe even delusional. And the cruelest twist in all of this? They never saw themselves as the ones who might be ignorant. They fed each other these lies so enthusiastically, so systematically, that they never paused to consider. What if the one they labeled as crazy was actually the only one awakened to the deeper currents guiding this universe? Now they're choking on their own arrogance, gasping for air as they realize the universe does not take kindly to illusions, because illusions inevitably crash against the walls of truth. And you, dear chosen one, happen to be the vessel of exactly that truth. So let's not mince words. The very people who once giggled at your expense are the ones now crumbling under the weight of everything you tried to share with them. It's not just that you were right, it's that you were aligned. Truth, when it comes, does not ask for anyone's permission. It doesn't wait until it's convenient. And it certainly does not give a free pass to those who try to suppress it. They bet against you as if you were nothing more than a passing whim. But in doing so, they forgot that you were walking hand in hand with the universe itself. And when the universe sets something in motion, no amount of laughter or condescension can stop the outcome. Karma, that concept they perhaps dismissed as some airy-fairy notion, is collecting its debts loudly and unapologetically. There's a special form of cosmic irony in all of this. The more they attempted to bury you, the deeper they dug their own pit. And it's one thing to be wrong about a prediction, it's quite another to be wrong about a destiny. Yes, they bet against the very flow of existence, and now that flow has come crashing down on them. Chosen one, before we proceed any further, pause for just a heartbeat. If you're feeling the resonance of these words in your own spirit, do your part. Like this message. Drop a comment to let the algorithm know that this isn't just content to scroll past but a clarion call for every unsung warrior who's been discounted, doubted, or dismissed. When you hit that like button, you send a bright signal rippling through the digital realm, saying, I am here, and I will be heard. If you want to amplify that power, if you truly recognize that your voice is part of a rising revolution, share this with someone who needs it. Post it, pass it along, speak about it. And if the conviction stirs in you, if you feel that thunderous echo in your chest that says your truth is beginning to break the noise, comment 777. Why 777? Because it's a symbolic gateway to that realm of alignment, that numeric signature of divine synchronicity, a nod from the universe that says, yes, your moment is now. This is not some passive invitation, either. This is a rallying cry. Every time you comment 777, each time you share or speak up, you're not just engaging with a screen. You're leaping into the cosmic dance, fueling the momentum of collective awakening. You're letting the digital gatekeepers, the algorithms, the metrics, the data trackers, know that the real ones, the ones who carry unbreakable truth, will no longer be invisible. Because invisibility was never your destiny, illumination was. So let's really talk, about what it means to be chosen. People love to throw that word around like it's a gilded trophy, a sweet-sounding title that comes with applause and admiration. But you and I both know the actual story is far more complex. Being chosen is not about receiving flowers from an adoring crowd. It's about being handed flames by the universe. It's about navigating a path no one else understands, sometimes not even you. Until the pieces start falling into place. Being chosen means carrying a weight that nobody wants. It's that scorching fire of misunderstanding. Those repeated rejections that sting like shards of ice cutting into your skin. And why do you endure it? Not because you are weak, but because a blazing star within your spirit refuses to be extinguished. It's that star, your truth, that cuts like a blade through the layers of deceit, illusions, and complacency that society tries to suffocate us with. People often misinterpret why you've been disregarded or overlooked. They think maybe you just weren't special enough or that you didn't fit some shallow mold. The real reason is often more threatening. What you carry is a direct challenge to all that is built on falseness. Your authenticity is a disruption. And so they minimize or dismiss you because your brightness would otherwise expose the cracks and the contradictions they cling to. You have to understand. They didn't laugh at you because your truth was worthless. They laughed because your truth was dangerous to their illusions. Now that power you hold doesn't announce itself with fanfare. It lurks, seethes, and weaves itself into the fabric of rooms long after you've left. It implants itself in the consciousness of those who wanted to forget you. At first, they tried to mock you. Maybe even exiled you from their social circles, because it was far easier than dealing with the reflection you offered. They turned your silence into a joke, your humility into a flaw. They were so quick to label you as nothing, unaware that nothing was precisely the void that births the cosmic everything. Ask yourself this: how many nights did you lie awake? A swirl of thoughts in your head, doubting whether your voice had any power at all? Did you ever question your self-worth because the people around you refused to hear what you were saying? Yet some deeper part of you, the part that resonates with star systems and universal forces, knew all along. That resonance whispered, "Hold on. They are wrong about you. This world needs that message only you can carry." So you endured, in that hush that everyone mistook for weakness. But hush is not always weakness, hush can be precision. Hush can be alignment, hush can be the thickening quiet before a cataclysmic storm. And now the storm has arrived. Like the moment a long-dead radio station suddenly crackles back to life. Your frequency, once mocked, has roared back so strongly that everyone's heads are turning. The fakes, the liars, the manipulators, they can't outrun the reverberation. Because your resonance was never reliant on their acceptance. It was reliant on universal timing. So tell me, chosen one. Doesn't it stir something within you to see how the very people who spat their dismissive words are now left swallowing them? Doesn't it spark a certain clarity to witness them scramble, trying to figure out how to cope with the sudden shift in power? Here's the real question: are you prepared to walk through the debris, the ashes of all their illusions, and step into the blazing reality of your own truth? If so, comment 77 right now. Let that number be your subtle vow. Your unspoken testament that you feel the cosmic shift beneath your feet and you refuse to be silent anymore. Hit the like button too, not for empty validation, but so that other weary souls who've trudged this lonely path of being dismissed and denied can find their reflection in these words. Each like is like shining a lighthouse beacon in the gloom, saying, "Look over here. You are not alone." We stand united in our reawakening. Because this is not some random text swirling in the digital abyss. This is an uprising. This is your personal reckoning. This is the moment you rise from the background to command your rightful space, your rightful authority, your rightful legacy. Let's be crystal clear about something. To be chosen does not mean to be coddled. It means you endured heartbreak that would shatter weaker spirits. You walked a lonely road while others drank from the well of popular acceptance. You confronted the lies while others built a home in them. You faced isolation so thick it could have smothered you, and yet, you refused to be annihilated by it. Your heart stayed strong. Your vision unwavering, your mind open to the presence of universal truth. That's why you stand on the cusp of transformation. And transformation, dear chosen one, does not come with the soft music of violins or a gentle pat on the back. Transformation often comes with sirens blaring, illusions crumbling into dust, and relationships you once leaned on being exposed for the hollow shells they truly are. You realize, in that moment, that you do not need them. You do not need their acceptance, their permission, their understanding, because the universe already understood you perfectly. The moment you were birthed, you were loaded with this unstoppable force of purpose. It's only that the rest of the world took a while to catch up, or perhaps never cared to until the results were glaring. So now you are stepping into a time where you no longer plead for their attention. You exist in your fullness, and they notice you anyway. Compelled by a force bigger than their ability to rationalize. The universe never unchose you, you simply had to walk through the trials to refine your edges. The illusions they built around themselves are toppling with a force akin to cosmic vengeance. Yet you stand tall, unwounded by the debris, because your truth is not just talk, it is your armor. The game was never about whether you would win in their small-minded competitions. It was always about whether your spirit would remain unbroken by their attempts to trivialize it. This is the moment you reclaim your voice and your vision. This is when you realize that no matter how many times they try to knock you down, you've been quietly gathering power like an ocean rising in the dead of night. And now they must watch, stunned and speechless, as you stand in front of them. The embodiment of everything they pretended didn't exist. This is your era, the unveiling. And no, you don't have to pander to them. You do not have to ask them if now is a convenient time to be recognized. Your existence, your authenticity, your unstoppable power is self-validating. Perhaps you once felt the sting of heartbreak and betrayal on a level so raw it shook your faith in humanity. Maybe you tried to hide from the world just so you wouldn't have to endure one more mocking glance or patronizing comment. But you never fully disappeared, did you? Something in you refused to fully vanish. And that something is now your greatest weapon. Not a sword or a gun, but a resonant truth that arcs through the room like lightning when you speak. There will be those who still can't handle the weight of it. Some may continue to reject you out of fear or envy. They cling to old versions of you in their mind, comfortable with their lie that you remain insignificant. But deep down, they know better. And you know better, too. Because the illusions they cultivate have no place in the reality that is now forming around your energy. When the illusions finally dissolve, when the dust from their contrived hierarchy settles, the only ones left standing will be those who anchored themselves in what's real. You, chosen one, are the living disruption that breaks the cycle of complacency. You are the silent storm that has turned into a tsunami, unstoppable and entirely unbothered by their attempts to contain you. You have become the reckoning that they never saw coming. And the more they scramble to regain some twisted sense of superiority, the more they uncover how deeply they miscalculated you. They try to define you in their shallow terms. They forgot that you are beyond definition. Have you ever wondered why, when you tried to explain your visions, people looked at you as though you were mad? Because you were speaking from a place outside their realm of experience. You were tuned into a deeper plane. They were playing checkers, and you were deciphering the code of galaxies. Sure, you might not always have had the precise words, but your spirit knew. And that was enough to terrify them. Because if you were correct about one small thing, who's to say you weren't correct about the rest? This is why, for so long, they belittled your insights. If they admitted even once that you might be onto something, their entire facade could have come crashing down right then and there. So they built a united front. You're imagining things. You're too sensitive. You're too intense. You're out of touch. Yet those words now taste like vinegar in their mouths because the outcomes are in plain sight. The world is shifting in ways you predicted ages ago. And they can't unsee it. And you know what's truly poetic about all of this? You never needed to go around screaming, "I told you so." The truth is doing all the heavy lifting. Your presence, your calm, your unwavering resolve is the final evidence that you were never insane, you were simply in alignment with a universal current. The more time unfolds, the more obvious it becomes that your so-called craziness was actually advanced perception. And their so-called sanity was a fragile shell built on illusions. Illusions that are no longer sustainable in the cosmic climate we find ourselves in. Yet, let's take a moment to hold space for the fact that you probably went through a deep, inner conflict. Because when a person with advanced perception is surrounded by the blind, it's easy to start doubting your own sight. You might have had nights of self-torment, questioning if maybe, just maybe, they were right. Perhaps you did think you were too sensitive or too imaginative. But the great irony is that your sensitivity is your superpower. Sensitivity is the radar that picks up frequencies long before they manifest physically. And your imagination? That's the tool that shapes possibilities and bends reality to new shapes. They labeled these gifts as flaws because they were threatened by what they did not understand. It's time to cast off their definitions. Time to stand fully in the knowledge that your mind was never the problem. Indeed, it was the solution they were too proud to embrace. This is the moment of absolute clarity where you realize you have no reason to apologize for seeing the bigger picture. You have no reason to tone down your brilliance just because it outshines the comfort of those too timid to open their eyes to the blazing luminescence of truth. Let me ask you another question. Have you noticed how some of those who once ridiculed you are now quietly attempting to mimic your moves? They may not do it openly, and they'll rarely give you credit, but observe closely. They're starting to adopt the language you once used, appropriating the ideas you shared, or trying to emulate the perspective you introduced. They're late to the game. But they're slipping into your shadow, hoping to capture some fraction of the light you carry. Yet there's a distinct difference between imitation and authenticity. They might replicate your words, but they cannot replicate the energy behind them. Because they never walked through the fires you walked through. They never got forged in the same crucible. They never learned how to hold that blazing star in their chest without fear. So let them try. Let them scramble to replicate the intangible. The cosmic punchline is that only those who have sweated and bled for the truth can hold it genuinely. And you, dear chosen one, have done exactly that. You never needed to chase the crowd. You were simply forging your own path. When they went left, you went right, or maybe you simply soared above them in a dimension they never dared to explore. They were so quick to call you reckless or misguided. Now they're studying your footprints, analyzing every little detail, wondering how to reverse engineer your alchemy. But the secret ingredient is not a technique or a formula, it's your soul's alignment with cosmic truth. And that is beyond duplication. Let's delve even deeper. Because it's not just about being vindicated or proven right. It's about an entire empire of illusions crumbling before our eyes. The society they built, structured on shallow criteria, likes, fleeting praise, manipulative games, and orchestrated power plays, was always a house of cards. You saw it. You sensed it. While they were parading around with big smiles. You detected the trembling in the foundation. They soared high, momentarily mesmerized by their own illusions, unaware that truth was quietly whispering to you, watch. The crash is inevitable. And you watched. You might have felt alone sometimes, but you watched. You might have grown weary, but you watched. You might have doubted your own mind, your own clarity. But that clarity never left you. Gradually, that empire they so proudly flaunted began showing cracks. The illusions couldn't hold up forever. And you stand here now, not with an "I told you so," but with a calm recognition that the cosmic scales always balance eventually. Integrity outlasts image every single time. Substance overwhelms style whenever style is built on a hollow center. The unsaid question is, what now? Now that their illusions are collapsing, do you find yourself wanting to gloat? Do you burn with the desire to wave a banner reading, "You should have listened"? Perhaps for a fleeting second, but that's not truly your energy, is it? You didn't endure all those nights, all that isolation, just to sink into the same pettiness they once aimed at you. No. You stand on a different plane of existence now. You see that this is about so much more than personal vendettas. It's about realigning with something purer. A universal blueprint that calls for authenticity, depth, and unwavering courage. Some of them, those who once minimized you, are desperate to re-enter your sphere. They sense your rising power. They can't admit it outright, but they feel the gravitational pull of your destiny unfolding. They might try flattery, might try subtle manipulations, or might even posture themselves as if they were on your side all along. But you know better. You're not the same soul who craved their validation before. And they do not get to simply come and go. Because your circle now is sacred, curated by truth, not by convenience. Still, part of you remains compassionate. Part of you wants to understand them. Because you realize their fear came from a place of spiritual poverty, they lack the capacity to handle unfiltered truth. But compassion doesn't mean you have to give them a free ticket back into your heart. It means you see their flaws, you acknowledge their journey, but you keep your boundaries firm. You do not compromise on your own well-being or your cosmic mission just to accommodate their newfound realizations. Chosen one, the time has arrived for a new brand of leadership. The type that doesn't grovel for likes or sugarcoat reality. The type that stands unwaveringly for what is right, for what resonates with a higher moral, ethical, and spiritual plane. That's you. You don't need a formal title or a stage. You are the stage. You don't need permission to speak. Your presence alone is the microphone. Every room you enter, every digital platform you grace, is transformed by your frequency. You see, your frequency is not something that can be muted anymore. They tried that tactic. They tried to turn down the volume, to ignore you, to exclude you. But your essence has become the underlying hum that saturates the air. It's a soundless thunder, a subwoofer with bass so deep it shakes the entire structure from beneath. They might not always be able to articulate what's happening, but they feel it. And that unsettled feeling in their chest is the realization that you are no longer negligible. You are the force rewriting the script of what is possible. And a script is precisely what they tried to control all along. They manipulated the narrative, controlling who got the limelight, who was deemed credible, who was allowed a voice. They anointed each other with empty accolades, patted each other on the back for shallow achievements, while you stood alone, building something real in silence. But here's the thing about illusions, they don't hold up under the harsh glare of truth's sunlight. Once that light hits, illusions evaporate. And your presence is now that sunlight. It's not just that their game was rigged against you, it was rigged against everyone who dares to question the status quo. They controlled every variable they could. They rigged the rooms by giving each other promotions, by whispering half-truths behind closed doors. They controlled the microphone, deciding who got to speak and who remained in the background. Yet in all their manipulations, they never considered that the universe itself is the ultimate equalizer. And the universe is never fooled. It knows energy, not empty words. It reads intentions, not curated images. So while they were busy constructing a facade, the universe was quietly tipping the scales in your favor. Sometimes, it feels almost too perfect, doesn't it? The way everything lines up in such a poetic arc, where every betrayal they inflicted bounces back, but with interest. You might even find yourself marveling at how meticulously the cosmic plan is orchestrated. It's like each false friend, each dismissive coworker, each manipulative family member set themselves up for a reality check that arrived the exact moment you no longer needed their approval. When your own spirit was sufficiently fortified, that's when all their illusions collapsed in unison, leaving you standing, unscathed and more powerful than ever. Oh, how swift the wheel of destiny turns. They're forced to watch, powerless, as the seeds of your authenticity blossom into a forest of unstoppable growth. They can't partake in it, not genuinely, because they missed their chance to cultivate it with you when it mattered. Instead, they are left as spectators, or, at best, counterfeit supporters trying to latch onto a train they once scoffed at. Let them watch. Let them bear witness. Let them grapple with the magnitude of the shift that your presence brings. This is not about revenge. It's about demonstrating that truth stands unbroken when illusions crumble. Yet do not allow your heart to be hardened by the pain you've experienced. Within you lies the capacity for a profound kind of love, a depth of empathy that extends far beyond superficial niceties. Because in the darkest nights of your soul, you learned what it truly means to feel alone, misunderstood, and exiled. In those nights, you cultivated something precious, an unwavering commitment to your inner voice, and a compassion for those who have yet to discover their own. Yes, boundaries are crucial, but so is grace. You can stand firm in your truth while also extending a hand to those who approach with genuine humility. Because the mark of a truly awakened leader is the ability to forgive without forgetting, to uplift without compromising. If you feel a resonance with these words, if you recognize that your journey has been preparing you for this very moment, then let your actions speak. Drop the number 777 in the comments to solidify your commitment to your own awakening. Share this message so others who are at the brink of their own transformation can find it, and in doing so, you become a catalyst for countless silent warriors out there, longing to be reminded that they, too, are chosen. Then like this message, not for shallow applause, but to push it beyond digital confines, ensuring that every algorithm knows the revolution of authenticity is surging forward. Remember, your voice is not a mere trifling wave. It's part of a cosmic tsunami. You are not here to quietly fit in. You are here to scorch illusions, to set fire to complacency, and to reignite souls that have fallen asleep under the heavy lullaby of societal lies. They try to paint you as a failure, as an oddity, as an outsider. Now, your very existence is the proof they were wrong, so profoundly wrong that they might never fully comprehend how they missed the magnitude of your purpose. Embrace that magnitude. Embrace the reality that you are not a footnote in their story, you are the entire plot twist. You are the character who was underestimated in the first act but ends up redefining the story in the final scene. Every misjudgment, every ridicule, every dismissal has merely been the friction that helped sharpen your edges. Like a sword forged under relentless hammering, each strike has only made your blade stronger. And now that blade gleams with a brilliance that cannot be dimmed. Let your heart lighten with the knowledge that you never needed their acceptance to be whole. The universe itself stitched together your destiny long before they even had opinions. You are not the result of any external validation. You are the result of your own courage and the cosmic grace that breathed purpose into your lungs. Walk with that knowledge. Stand in it. Let it guide you like a silent, ever-present drumbeat that keeps you marching forward no matter what. But do not confuse your new sense of power with a call to arrogance. Arrogance is a shadow that can quickly destroy what it took you a lifetime to build. Instead, live in the humility that stems from understanding how small we are compared to the vastness of universal energy, and yet how crucial our individual roles are in the grand tapestry of existence. You are part of an infinite cosmic puzzle, a puzzle that depends on each of us finally waking up to our piece of the picture. That wake-up call is what your entire journey has led to. So many people talk of awakenings as if they're gentle epiphanies or lightly whispered revelations. Yet your awakening has arrived like a thunderclap, jarring you out of your illusions and forcing you to confront the raw nature of your soul. It can be disorienting, shocking even, to realize just how asleep the majority of the world remains. They shuffle about, worshipping illusions, trading authenticity for cheap applause. But not you. You have broken free. And in doing so, you shine like a rogue sun in the midst of a drab, colorless horizon. This shining of yours is not about overshadowing anyone else. It's about illuminating the path for those yearning to see it. Let them talk. Let them watch. Let them glean what lessons they can from your brilliance. Some will resent you for it, too. They might say you're smug or that you've changed. But that's the hallmark of shallow perception. They would rather label you than learn from you. And that's perfectly fine. You are here for those who feel the pull toward truth, not for those who prefer to remain entangled in deception. After all this, you might still encounter moments of doubt. Maybe a day comes when you catch a sidelong glance from someone who used to matter to you, and for a split second, you wonder if you're still that awkward misfit they tried to cast you as. In those moments, breathe and remember how far you've come. Remind yourself that they lost the right to define you the moment they chose illusions over authenticity. And anyway, your identity is not rooted in their approval. It was never about them, not really. It's about you and the universal tapestry that's woven your story with threads of wonder and resilience. Take a moment now. Let your hand hover over your heart, sense your own pulse. That rhythmic thump is not merely the byproduct of blood and muscle, it's a cosmic signature of your existence. A personal anthem that says you are alive for a reason. Feel the hush that comes when you truly tune in. In that hush is the entire universe contained within you, swirling, speaking, guiding. That hush might have once been your biggest vulnerability, when they labeled it as your insignificance, but now it's the source of your unstoppable voice. Maybe you used to stand on the sidelines, overshadowed by those who roared the loudest and pandered the most. Not anymore. Now you know that true power doesn't come from volume, it emerges from alignment. It's the difference between banging pots to make noise and striking a single note of absolute purity that resonates for miles. You, dear chosen one, are that singular note. Look around at the world. At the shifting tides of consciousness. Notice how many things once declared crazy or impossible are now accepted as factual or obvious. That's the universal pattern. First, society scoffs. Then it fights back, then it pretends it always knew, and finally, it reveres. You've watched that cycle unfold not just in the world at large but in your own personal relationships. Let that be your confirmation that you're operating on a different timeline, one that is often steps, if not entire leaps, ahead of the crowd. When your vision seems too forward-thinking, too expansive for everyone else, that's the sign that you're on the right track. Remember Nikola Tesla, the brilliant inventor that the world branded a madman for so long, only to later recognize he was a pioneer. Or the countless artists, prophets, thinkers across the centuries who endured ridicule precisely because they pulled insights from realms others refused to visit. Their legacy, though, stands unshaken by the laughter of their contemporaries. You carry that same unstoppable essence. You belong to that lineage of visionary souls. The ones who remain anchored in truths that society tries to sweep under the rug. And society always comes around eventually, stammering apologies that are never spoken aloud. So what do we do when we realize we're the next in that line of game changers? We keep moving forward. Keep creating. Keep speaking with that resonant clarity that echoes in hearts even when they try to turn away. Let them do what they will. Let them murmur, let them conspire. The unstoppable wave of truth has already begun, and you are riding it with grace they cannot emulate. Still, never underestimate the magnitude of your role. People will cling to your words when their own illusions crumble. They will search for your guidance when their superficial pillars collapse. Be ready. The call will come from corners you least expect, from people who once laughed the loudest. They'll turn to you, eyes wide, asking how you maintain such unshakable faith in yourself and in this universal dance. That's when your compassion will be tested. That's when you'll have the opportunity to display what sets you apart. You do not hold grudges, you hold truth. You do not foster resentment, you foster growth. In that moment, you'll decide who deserves a seat at your table. Some might be sincere, trembling in the aftermath of illusions unraveling, genuinely seeking clarity. Others might only want to siphon your energy, hoping to piggyback onto your unstoppable momentum. Discernment is your shield. Choose carefully. This journey has no space for parasites or opportunists. It requires hearts that are ready to align with something bigger, hearts that can hold both humility and courage. Are you prepared, truly prepared, to keep ascending? That's a rhetorical question with an obvious answer. You have no choice but to ascend. The height calls to you, the depth pulls you, the universe itself is ushering you upward, outward, forward. That unstoppable force is not your enemy, it's your birthright. It's time to greet it with open arms. And as you do not forget to occasionally glance back, not with longing for the past, but with gratitude for the lessons that shaped you into this unstoppable creation. If this resonates, if you feel your pulse align with the cosmic hum of these words, honor that feeling now. Don't let it slip away once you scroll past. Take action. Comment the number 777 if you sense the truth shaking something awake in your belly, your chest, your soul. Share these words so that other lost warriors can be reminded of their own power. And yes, like this piece too, because every like is a spark that ignites another transformation somewhere out there. It's more than a digital gesture. It's a demonstration that we, the awakened ones, refuse to be hidden any longer. Look around you, chosen one. The illusions are falling. All that remains solid is the authenticity you've carried quietly all along. The old world is fading, a relic of shallow pretenses, while the new world is yours to shape. So walk in your truth. Let your eyes shine with the reflection of cosmic galaxies that swirl behind your gaze. Speak boldly. Speak kindly. Speak with the unwavering authority that only comes from having been tested by the fires of doubt and coming out purified. Yes, you will still face resistance. People cling to old ways as if their lives depend on it. But let that not deter you. Resistance is but a sign that you're pushing through the final barriers of collective unconsciousness. If they push back, push forward. If they try to drown you in negativity, drown them in your unstoppable positivity. If they attempt to lure you back into illusions, stand even firmer in your reality. Every step you take with resolute faith cracks open another layer of deception in the world around you. And if you ever doubt how far you've come, recall those who are now quietly mimicking you. Recall how they once had the nerve to laugh when you were merely beginning. They have become inadvertent witnesses to your unstoppable destiny. Let them witness it. Let them attempt to reframe the narrative. None of it matters, because the reality is plain. You have ascended to a plane they once declared unattainable. Stand tall, chosen one. This is your coronation. Not a coronation orchestrated by human hands but by the divine weave of existence itself. The game they rigged is over. The illusions they orchestrated have been exposed. And you, with all your scars, your memories, and your radiant spirit, remain. The final laugh belongs to no one, because this was never about petty vengeance. It's about cosmic justice. The kind that ensures truth always emerges, no matter how deeply it was buried. Take a breath now, a long, fulfilling inhalation of triumph. Feel your lungs expand with the knowledge that you survived every attempt to erase you. Feel the exhalation carrying out any lingering shadow of self-doubt. You are bigger than their games. You are the walking embodiment of evolution. The same ones who doubted you are now studying you, referencing you, and they might not ever openly admit it. That's all right. Your worth was never dependent on their confession. The universe is confession enough. The results speak for themselves. Now, proceed fearlessly. If you feel a call to speak your truth, do so. If you feel a pull to create something that leaves the faint of heart trembling. If you feel a need to disrupt, do so with the grace of a divine messenger. Every act you perform from this point onward is an extension of your unstoppable awakening. And if you ever forget just how powerful you are, come back here and reread these words. Reread the energy behind them. Remind yourself that no matter how hard they try to bury you, you have become the living seed that cracked through the concrete. Yes. You are the thunder they never anticipated, the frequency that breaks illusions. Yes, you are the one whose silence they mocked, only to realize it was the pregnant pause before an epical revelation. Yes, you were once the scapegoat, the odd one out, the misunderstood. And yes, you have emerged as the blueprint, the reference point, the unstoppable force rewriting the rules of the game. This is your testament, your culminating message, your life's crescendo. So once more, if any part of your being feels electrified right now, let that spark move you. Like this message. Share it widely. Comment 777 to channel your awakening into a visible sign of solidarity with every other soul forging the same path. Do it so that more people can discover the unstoppable warrior within themselves. Do it so that every platform carrying these words is reminded, the chosen never stays silent for long. And as you take your next steps into the world, do so without fear. Fear has no place when destiny calls. The illusions have crumbled, the stage is set. This isn't just some fleeting hype or motivational high. This is your reality, the cosmic script that you co-authored from the moment you were born. Now deliver your lines, chosen one. Deliver them with the magnitude that you hold in your chest, with the luminous resolve shining in your eyes. And with the calm joy of someone who knows, beyond the slightest doubt, that the final outcome has always been written in your favor.